Welcome to 221B Baker Street by way of the Southgate Bridge. I am your host, Zachary here, Sherlockian, Sherlock Holmes aficionado, fanatic, what have you. And with me, as always, is everyone's favorite, regular Karen Vera.
Hello, Zach.
Hello. So, of course, we'll be talking about the episode All In.
Yep.
I think it's interesting that it starts off with, because this is why I always like rewatching it when I do my notes. She's actually talking to the person that did it.
Yeah, and there's no previously, so, we just start straight up to the episode and meet this woman who is on the phone, and we see the crime committed, so to speak.
Indeed. So we get the case that we don't even know what the case. Well, sometimes they do this, but we don't even know what's going on. We just know some woman found some money. She gets shot at, and then we have Sherlock on a trampoline. Yeah,
that's a beautiful cut. I loved it. It was funny. So that was a good segue.
Yes. So apparently, I kind of would like to know what happened with the sommeliers.
Yes, that's the best background case ever on Elementary, and it pays off in different parts of the episode, and they reference it. It's hilarious. Yes.
The thing I want to know, and I should have tweeted the writers, I wonder, or at least look it up, I wonder if, because they love to put fake and real information with cases, I wonder if there really are wines that smell like cat urine.
Well, Sherlock has to keep, his senses sharp. So that's part of it. And I'm sure I don't want to even imagine, what the combination of those three smells, a belt, urine, and I forgot the third one, to go in one location. No wonder Joan is frustrated.
Yeah.
Yes. And while this is happening, a knock on the door comes in, and we see this, again, the same woman we saw at the start of the episode, asking for Sherlock's help, and she knows them by name. She has carrying money on them, and she has a shotgun wound. Yeah, and this is where the mystery of the episode begins.
And we already see her giving a lot of an attitude where she's just trying to help her.
Yes, yeah, and that's the strange performance of this actress, Samantha Kwan, and we will reveal later in the discussion what her connection is to Joan and Sherlock, but she plays this kind of, she's very energetic. I appreciate that in the scene. She brings this tension that is sometimes interesting, but sometimes she's acting like a brat, and I don't know how to understand this character. I mean, what are your initial thoughts so far on
Well, at this point, once you know the reason for it, you're a little more sympathetic towards the character.
Sure.
But, because, obviously if people are listening, they know it turns out it's Watson's half-sister. We can say that now. I mean, seriously, if you're listening to a podcast, you haven't watched the show yet.
Yes.
But I thought, because I want to say it, because I made a note of this. I put that she's just being, now I understand she's got some issues, because imagine, because the father being scared, that's a whole other thing. There's a lot of residual anger. So I'm fine with that, but she's so trapped in her lie. And also, she's a real estate agent who does illegal poker games. So, she's not, she doesn't have the best judgment.
Yeah.
But it's like she's just, now, her, like I said, being defensive, one thing, but she's also being stubborn and rather stupid.
Yes.
She says, Mycroft, I thought he was the one. Now, I didn't really realize something until the second watching. She doesn't know Mycroft's alive.
Yes.
For all she knows, Mycroft is dead.
Yes.
So she is telling her half-sister that for all she knows, her dead boyfriend was cheating on her.
Yeah, so I caught that too, and so that should have been some kind of, weird development. And the other thing I thought about her is I don't understand, if you're going to introduce a sister for Joan, it's like Chekhov's gun. It has to mean something eventually. You're not just introducing an extra family member so Joan has nice dramatic scenes to work around with, right? It has to pay off.
Late in the season.
Pardon?
And so late in the season.
Yeah,
too.
So this has to, it has to lead up to something in the end, and I that's why it's hard to wrap your brain around. She brings several things to the table: the stubbornness. At the same time, she's a little bit relatable. I mean, the characters played well, but it's a confusing introduction so late into season, and I hope there's some kind of it comes around to something relevant to Joan, to Sherlock, and how they conduct their cases. So
I'm sure there is, but it's just something that's like when it's like she expects them to trust her right away, and they're looking at her like, no.
Yes.
We don't know you.
Yes, this is not a shelter for wayward and wounded realtors.
That's one of my
lines. Yes. So there's a Mycroft connection. She asks for help for her illegal gambling situation that she can't talk to the cops about. And Sherlock and Joan are left to they have to go by her so they can proceed with finding out what's going on. So Sherlock asks Joan to watch over Lynn, and while he goes to her apartment.
Yes. So he gets to investigate the scene, and so we get the other character, Sophia. Now I think I don't know if this was intentional, but if you look at it, she just immediately accepts who Sherlock is. You can even believe that she was watching Lynn, so she knows she was there, so she already knew who Sherlock was. That's why. Yeah. Think of it. Some guy just says, "Hey, I'm this guy." She just immediately accepts it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think maybe because Sherlock notices right away that he's observant, and since she's a double agent, or maybe I don't know, or I'm sorry, NSA has a double agent. She's actually not who she seems to be. She's not just a poker dealer. So maybe she just goes with it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, but that's a hit for us.
Yes. Yeah, but you know what? I have to admit, upon first watch, I didn't think that deeply about her. And
No. It wasn't until the rewatch I was thinking that.
Yes.
Yeah, she did. I'm somewhat familiar with the actress. I've seen her in a couple of things.
Oh, really?
Well, most recently, I believe it was in the TV show. I'd have to relook at The Black Box.
Yeah.
And a decent little show with about one season. It was all right.
Yeah.
So they're talking about the robbery, apparently. Yes.
And she has a burn from a spent shell casing.
But that's an important clue because it turns out that that spent shell casing is from not an insanely rare gun.
Yes,
but now I wonder. Now I was not sure if that was intentional that they used those guns or not to make it look like Jimmer had done it.
Yeah, I think maybe they are very good spies, and so they had their whole kabuki setup of the robbery included throwing suspicion to that gun dealer, probably.
And I'm going to bring this up again later. It could also very well be that the Turkish agents were idiots because they are. Oh my! Well, we'll get to that when we meet them. But
okay. Wow. Yes, they kind of. Maybe she's the smart one, the poker dealer.
Oh, I definitely think she is. So again, when we get back to the brownstone, we get Lynn just making fun of Watson every chance she gets.
Yes.
I think Watson's seeing right through her. She's so, and that plays off so well in the ending. But yeah, so Sherlock goes to confront Jimmer, which is the dumbest nickname I've ever heard in my life.
Yes, I think Johnny Lee Miller he loved the dialogue here and his performance was a little sharper than usual. I think he enjoyed sort of secretly mocking a man named Jimmer.
Yeah, and then I love how stupid this because it turns out he was the one who shot Lynn in the beginning.
Yes,
but it's because he just immediately believed because he found the money there. I like how Sherlock goes, "Well, do you think she was framed?" No, it just goes no. Yeah, it's like she would be that stupid to have the money out like that.
Yeah,
and then I love how he goes. Well, Sherlock, of course, immediately comments on this. He's like, "Oh well, I couldn't have stolen it. I lost all that money." And Sherlock is like, "You do realize if you had stolen the money."
Yeah, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah, you were going to say how he turns out he hired an investigator.
Yes. So, but out of this, hilarious Jimmer scenario comes an important development in terms of finding out what happened to Lynn's watch out guy, the Ian person, and his Jimmer's detective was the one who it helps Sherlock find out what happened to him, and he turns out to have been killed. Or they trace his phone, and he goes to the location, and he finds Ian Walker's body. So that's.
I love how the expense. He's like, oh, they're the most expensive investigators. They couldn't even find the body.
Yes. So that's another layer of Sherlock's disdain for this whole Jimmer. He even hired a stupid private from New Jersey.
But they were pricey. Ooh.
Yes. So this is this is where, again, the next turn of the case happens, and they discover the cause of death of Ian Walker, and the smells play an important part in this whole.
Even before that, we get another scene with Linda, how just stubbornly, she's obviously not a stupid person per se, but her stubbornness and her deceit make her stupid. Like, she actually was dumb enough that there are people trying to kill her.
Yes,
and she calls her mother.
Yes, that's why that's why I'm mystified. They're making her very stubborn and what could be very unlikable, obnoxious behavior, but you can't dismiss it out of hand. She seems interesting enough, so I don't know where the acting direction is coming from sometimes with the show, with this character.
I think it's a lot of the character comes, again, she was never intending to look Jonah.
Yeah.
It was like she says later that it was desperation.
Yes.
And it's one thing when I think she essentially admits later also the anger was irrational, and she essentially blames Joan for her father, even though obviously it wasn't her fault.
Yes. Yeah, I guess she has that spark of interest that I think, that I see some similarities with Joan in the beginning. So maybe Lynn's curiosity got the best of her, and while Joan is here right in front of her, it's her chance to find out more details about what she's discovered so far. Why did she leave surgery, and all that other information. So yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're as you say, there's a weird smell. It turns out it was chloroform. Yes. And again, another hint to the agents being idiots. They accidentally, which you don't see a lot in TV, because usually, I think I've heard in real life, chloroform does not knock you out like that, or at least not that instantly.
Yeah.
But of course, again, if you use too much, it's anything like any. But again, a little hint to the netness of what we lay found to be Turkish agent. I love the little jab at Belle. He's I think it jumped the conclusion like going to Polynesian restaurants or wanting to play.
Yes, they came straight from Malua, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from knowing that, Ian Walker has died from chloroform, and Sherlock also recognizes an underlying scent of coconut and charcoal. So this is also so his sommelier background case is paying off now.
It would have been so much better if we called in the nose.
You're right. Maybe that should be a chance to. There's a lot of dangling extra characters that we're frustrated sometimes of not seeing. And I mean, Gregson has a girlfriend, Virginia Madsen, and we're assuming she's just in the background. Clyde gets mentioned in this episode, but we don't see him. So I guess it's their way of not hiring and paying for the cost of the the appearances of these people, but we want to see them sometimes. So hopefully the show will get to it.
Yeah. Well, and you gotta love how Belle and Gregson go to the apartment. The owner acts like it's an inconvenience.
Yeah, I think that's practic. Not a lot of people, they would defy a court order because they just don't care. They're not scared by a court order. They're just, I don't know. The workers are here.
I love Belle's reaction. It's like, well, I was gonna thought that scuff mark was made by the robbers, but now I don't know.
Yes. So it's Gregson and Belle checking out the location where there was supposed to be nothing, but people are moving in, and we have the cute interaction of you look different, Gregson.
I remember when he said that, I thought it was going to be some weird line about his girlfriend, but it turns out to be an important clue.
Yeah.
And they find a surveillance device.
Yes.
In the
thing, and
the light bulb. I like how Holmes is impressed. For the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, that's nice." Holmes is impressed. But then when I watched it again, I realized something. He's essentially trying to take credit for Belle noticing the bug.
He's kind of proud that he's taken the initiative to know a bit more about technology. Like that Sherlock feels some kind of paternal pride in Belle's Belle's advanced.
I have always liked that.
Yes, I also like it's very consistent with the Sherlock character we have in the show, and it's a wonderful addition. I don't know if it's in the books, but I like what they've done for this show. One of the many things that they like.
Well, but Holmes didn't really in the original canon, they didn't really have. I mean, there was some interaction with the police that was a lot, but again, nothing as far as because this is one of the ways that this show makes it their own. Yeah. But one thing that is kind of a callback to the original canon is how like they don't tell the police right away, not until there's a body. They kind of have to.
Yeah.
And Belle obviously is not happy about that. But I keep thinking about this one of the original Sherlock Holmes cases when Watson says, "Holmes, we have to go to the police," and Holmes was angry. And he's like, "No, I am not retained by the police to help with their ineptitudes." And it's true. While Sherlock helps the police and he cares about right and wrong, there have been many times when he will, if he believes it should be done.
Well, then it's a good balance. I mean, they knew how to sort of bring it to the modern era. So anyway, I like this Belle Holmes thing that they have there. It's their own relationship, and it's developed very slowly over 4 seasons, but it's pretty solid.
Yes. So they figure out that was actually one of the players that installed the cameras. They go to confront him.
Yes, and this is an actor named Daniel London, who I've seen also in various things.
Oh, he's one of the... Yeah, I've seen him in a lot of stuff.
Yes. And he apparently owns some kind of data security company, and a lot of diplomatic assignments come through his way because he knows how to set up the data security, but he uses his knowledge to set up some kind of camera so he could just cheat and be a better poker player.
Yeah, it turned out nothing to do with the robbery. He was just counting cards. But I did like it because I thought it was weird when she got Sherlock coffee. I'm like, Sherlock wouldn't have that crap. And then he's like, oh, it's to get prints.
Yes. Yeah, that's again. And you know what? He could be just bluffing. I have your prints. The prints might not be there, but it's effective enough to threaten with that.
And how about?
So they go to turns out he kept the footage because they study it.
Well, before that, I got to make mention how the guy didn't recognize a Cyrano reference.
A what reference?
Sherlock pronounced it as like Cyrano or something, but what he's talking about. Remember when he says, what is the name of your Cyrano? And he goes, I don't know what that means. It's a reference to Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yes. That's right. Very clever.
And I'm like, who doesn't know who Cyrano is? Well, to me, I consider myself a literary and a bit of an intellectual. When I hear someone doesn't even know who Cyrano is, I'm like, read a book.
And then later on, we have a lot of Orwell references when McNally comes up. So this is a very literary episode, well written.
Now, you talk about when he mentions the recording. Did you see Sherlock's eyes light up when he mentions that?
I think he finally got to see Sherlock smile, because he rarely smiles on the show. So he's excited. So they go to that, super security where even the paint won't let you have Wi-Fi signal.
I found that fascinating.
Yeah. Oh, we have that in our company where where the servers are. It's all even down to the paint has some kind of effect to keep it protected. So
the funny thing is, the place where I work is kind of unintentionally like that because it's an old factory, so a lot of the ceiling and metal. So I can't my phone service is really bad when I'm at work.
Okay,
I wouldn't even be able to do a call. That's how bad it is.
Maybe that could be a security measure. Just go to an old building, and you'll have that added layer. So we get sent the footage is emailed from that to Joan at the brownstone, and she's with Lynn, who's being a little bit even more bratty than usual.
I think it even looks like she's curious about Joan.
So she's pushing buttons, basically. You think?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And then we get a visit from an old friend. I want to go rewatch the episode where we meet him because I love how he actually pulled a Big Brother.
Yes.
He went on her laptop and erased her footage.
Yep. Just when they were getting more information, he pops up and he says the investigation ends here, and he even shuts off the power. So
yes, which Sherlock puts on Watson's sports bra. He couldn't find his mining helmet, but apparently he knows exactly where Watson's sports bra is in the dark.
Yes. And that's where Joan and Sherlock have a discussion about Mycroft.
And apparently she's able... I mean, this is where, like you were saying, I don't know where they're going to go with this, but she's actually used Moreland to get a message to Mycroft and to ask about something kind of trivial.
Yes. And so that's why Sherlock's like, what? You risk, talking to Moreland and my brother's life just to get more about this really might be inconsequential, but it at least reveals that, Lynn is not entirely, sharing the truth here.
Yes. Well, I love how Sherlock has such a low opinion of brother. Well, maybe Mycroft's just lying.
I don't even know his birthday. which was led so well.
Well, that's actually, when you think about it, that's a reference to the old Holmes adage that it's like how, and they've even mentioned this in the BBC show, how Holmes doesn't know that the Earth revolves around the sun because he deletes stuff that
yes.
he doesn't need to solve cases.
Yes.
And then we get the old, I know it's funny, I almost expected, when they did the whole music thing and the thing with the note, I almost expected Lynn to do the thing where, like, stupid people do. NSA, oh, sorry.
Yes, and I was hoping the music will be Goat Whore, which is what we got.
I know, I was hoping I think it was
just
back,
regular rock music, right?
I think it was back, but I'm not completely sure. So they actually figured out through looking at the footage that I didn't even know people still did. I mean, I don't know if they do, but that it was like, I think it was big in like the 80s. I don't know if 70s, but 80s. I think some of the 90s. This really bad version of hair transplant.
Yes,
I'm not sure the word Watson used, but
baby doll hair.
Well, yeah, but I think she used like the technical term. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, I've never actually seen anyone in it, but it does not. It never looks good.
Yeah, I've actually seen it on somebody's head, and you can't help but stare because it's so bizarre. It looks painful. It looks freakish. So, but yes, that somebody with hair implants is big clue to where finding out these Turkish spies are at. And they go to their store, which is some kind of hookah store, and there's this nice running joke about reading. I was home reading, but it leads to a breakthrough because that's where McNally again, the NSA is also watching those two brothers.
Yeah.
And
but I love how stupid they are. He's like, we were at home reading book.
Yes. So that's what Sherlock says. Good luck with the book club. It's a nice little.
I love how bad they. I mean, you think foreign agents would be a little better at lying.
Yes.
I love how like, is this? He's like, this is illegal. He's like, oh, completely. He's so happy. He's like, yeah. And then he gets the obvious. I mean, it's like they might as well have the van might as well have said not the NSA.
Maybe Sherlock's is like extra sharp. I don't know, but yes.
No, I can't. I mean, because I'm not sure I would pick up on it right away, but I would think if I was an agent of an enemy government, I would pick up on it.
Anyway, Sherlock, hilariously gets the NSA to pick him up, and of course, they acknowledged his Sherlock's little code, so that was.
Well, as Agent McNally said, they wanted to get the hell out of that van.
Yep, and McNally actually references Big Brother, references Orwell, but then he says we're not here to talk about 20th century literary figures, and he reveals that there's some Turkish espionage involved in this whole poker game scenario.
I just realized something that he says we're not going to talk about 20th century literary figures, and Sherlock Holmes is a 20th century literary, even though, some of it was written, obviously, a little bit like in the 19th century, but I think Doyle was still writing, so I'm sure it counts.
Yeah.
Now, we also get that weird scene with Joan and Lynn where she's trying to take her shoes.
Yeah.
And she's like saying, you have to stay there. Like, she's just being, see, this is what I mean. She's just letting her stubborn. I think it's because of the situation, she's had to deal with all of her emotions, that when you suppress an emotion it's bad enough when you suppress an emotion, it's bad enough when you have a lie you have to commit to, but we're having to do both at once.
Yeah. This is why it's a very complex character that I appreciate they brought in. It's sometimes I don't know the balance between is she being a stubborn or being, but all this emotional suppression, like you mentioned, is also factoring in. So I guess it's a credit to the show that there's a character that they introduced, but we're not exactly straight up knowing what to feel about her. So that's actually some complex bit of writing that they put in.
Maybe that's why both the two episodes were shown back to back, because they wanted to include the character, but they still wanted to get the show done by a certain time.
Yep, I guess so.
So McNally proceeds to tell him that it's actually not only with the two guys, the government agents, actually Sophia is also, and not only that, she's a double agent. She's betraying Turkey to someone else, and the NSA wants to know who.
Yep.
And it also turns out Sherlock's investigations might have put that in jeopardy because they're going to get out of the country because they know they've been made.
Yep. So, but that's sort of like that's where the investigation leads up to is, tell us who you're working for, and the poker game was all really just a ruse to get into the security of Daniel London's company.
Well, in a way, if you look at it, the frame up was actually a clue, because of how much they steal the money just to leave a ton of it for the frame up.
Yeah.
So that's a clue that does it. And I love how Sherlock is just mad and rushing because he doesn't know what to do about the case.
Yep. But effectively, McNally has concluded all investigations because of this.
Yes. He believes it's all for naught. So, but Sherlock realizes something, and I like how I don't know if you can, because it's very quick. But she says you could say excuse, please, and move. He actually does say please move.
Yeah.
After she says that,
yes,
she actually does the. He does the. And you notice when Sherlock is brushing teeth, he's actually using a spittoon.
I mean, this goes into my general feeling about this episode, where it's some weird developments, but all the bits there's so many bits that are funny, and we know they're funny because it's built from 4 years of show. So we can talk about it in a bit, but yes, all these little details are funny. I love it. It gives a lot of pleasure in enjoying this show, but there's still sort of loose ends. It's not completely tied up in a ribbon. So it's a weird viewing this episode.
Well, they look into it, and it turns out that what the robbery was really about was, like you said, to get the key to the server room.
Yes.
And they actually get the two agents on camera, which again is not something a professional would do.
Yeah.
And I still went out. The guns are either one or two. I like to think of the special guns as one or two things. Either she specifically told them to pick those guns.
Yeah.
To frame Jimmer.
Yeah.
Or those two guys are so stupid they picked rare guns.
Yes.
To use in the robbery.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if she planned. I mean, of course, she could have put her arm on the bullet, the shell casing, but it's not. But again, I liked it. If you look at a lot of evidence, they're really stupid.
I think and took some comedic effect. So I don't know if that's meant to diminish a bit of their danger or. And as we see here, another thing that shows they're idiots is they didn't know the third agent was a double agent. Yep. So they're not. I don't think they're gonna be spies for long.
No, I love how under McNally's essentially doing the whole "I am not here," but he tells them like she proposes a deal. She's gonna give up.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was their nephew that killed the lookout.
Yeah.
So, but McNally will not agree to any deal until she says who her boss is.
Yeah.
So, which Sherlock thinks he knows through her pen stroke.
Yeah. Yeah, but because McNally asked her to write it down and not say it because who knows who's listening, right?
Right. So that's the wrapped up case. So of course the show ends with Joan talking to
Lynn.
I realize even in both episodes we don't really get Sherlock's take on the fact that she's her sister. So I wonder where that's going to go.
Yeah, I had thought about that. Yeah, because maybe.
So what happens?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I love how Watson's. This is one of my favorite parts of the episode when Watson says, "You never knew my cross," and she tries to say, she's like, "That was not a question."
Yes. I don't know. Would Sherlock, you think, been tipped off to say, could she be your sister? I mean, or maybe he's not thinking that deeply about it, because sometimes Sherlock gets from very little clues some big breakthrough, and
right.
I don't know if he would have known. Sherlock, being as sharp as he would have noticed that perhaps they're related, but I guess he wasn't thinking of it, or because he was distracted by Mycroft. I don't know. So maybe that's a little gap in the story as well.
I will have to say, but it's funny because I'm not sure if they've ever really referenced it before, but I never thought about the fact that Joan is 100% Asian in the show and Watson.
Because she's been, I think they eventually revealed she was adopted by the John Hurd, the actor played by John Hurd. So I think it has come out.
Well, I'd have to rewatch to make sure, but it turns. turns out that the father, after, because we know that he's schizophrenic, and after he left Joan, he actually had another family.
Yeah.
He went back on his vacation.
And he
They're
was
not really
functional
clear how
for
many
a
years,
few
but they do
years
say
too.
it was years. But then he left. He had an episode and left them as well. And I wonder, because you got to remember, this is another storyline that involves a father.
Yeah, good point. Yes.
And when are we gonna meet? Because, well, to tell you the truth, if I had to pick an actor, I'd pick James Hong, but we've already had him.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe somebody younger of Chinese. Maybe Chow Yun Fat. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really. Well, I don't know if he's doing any movies overseas, but that would be an interesting choice.
Yeah, I think he's been based in Hong Kong recently. Yeah.
Yes. But well, I mean, I wonder. I don't know if we're going to be in this season. I would because we know he's still alive. He's just homeless.
Yes. Or they can get somebody like Tony Leung. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I probably am.
From a lot of the Wong Kar-wai movies. So he's a fantastic actor.
Or why don't we go really out there? Get Jackie Chan.
Potentially. Why not? Who's the other rival of Jackie Chan?
Jet Li.
Jet Li, yes. That's the one I'm thinking of.
You know what's funny? He doesn't really look old enough to be it.
Well, that's the benefit of Asian heritage, you.
Oh wow! Someone from the village wants to. Oh sure, it's just another case of the white man being put.
Maybe it's all a big.
No, but okay, if listeners, again, none of us would have picked John Noble, but he's so perfect. If any of you guys want to message the Facebook page or any of us, let us know what let us know what we would love to see who you would pick.
Yeah.
As Joan, I should post it in some of the groups, see what people think.
Yeah.
But so that ends the episode. I think the cases weren't a two-parter, but the character background is a two-parter.
Yes. Yeah. We had a lot of character development, both in small gestures and dramatic reveals, which is where the episode ends, right? It ends with the bombshell that I'm your half sister, and it's an interesting episode. It had a weird energy to it, like I mentioned.
Yes,
in the discussion.
I think that's the best way to put it, because the case, I don't even know how to really describe the case, because it did surprise me. Yeah. I didn't see the double agent thing coming.
Correct.
You know what it was? It was like they were distracting us with Lynn.
Yeah.
We were focused so much on Lynn. We were just, the case is like, whoa, espionage. I think that's the best. It's a very unique episode, so I liked it for that respect.
I did.
I'm curious to see where they're going to go with the sister part. Overall, I'd say it was a good episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode. Lots of Johnny Lee Miller had so many little lines that were delivered so hilariously, but it was still relevant to the story. And I have lots of funny lines to share with you. It won't sound funny when we share it, but if you watch it, it's hilarious. Yeah.
My only line is not a shelter for wayward and wounded realtors.
Okay, I have a few I'm gonna mention to you. So
okay, let's round them off.
So of course there was this whole conversation about I don't even remember his birthday. That already was funny.
Yeah.
And the whole Jimmer situation where he says, "Mr. Hopkins, Jimmer, you were able to get dressed this morning. You might not realize how stupid that sounds." And so that delivery was just spot on. And the killer must have come straight from a luau, that is from Belle. And Belle is also admonishing Sherlock, "You didn't tell the captain about an arm round for 24 hours. Give him that long to forgive you." And even the simple line of how long does it take to screw on a light bulb has a lot of payoff, even because it's contextualized in finding a bomb, a camera. And what else did I like? I liked by all means distract me while I'm holding 240 volts in my hand. So that's during the big blackout. And even Sherlock says, I'm not just talking about his web toe, which is Mycroft's web toe. So yeah, I don't know if these are improvs, but they are so funny. Even the good luck with the book club, which is what his parting words with the two brothers are when he sees the NSA van. And finally, no country wants to depend on goat meat forever. So those were Johnny Lee Miller's gems this whole episode, with a few from Belle.
There's one, I have not tried moussaka yet, but it's definitely on the list.
Yeah, but I echo your sentiments. It's a really strong episode that has a weird vibe to it, and overall it's another strong showing from the elementary team, but it leaves a lot of open mysteries that I don't know how to resolve yet and how to accept yet. So we'll see.
We don't have many episodes left.
Yep, exactly. And we have this big Moreland development that I'm so expecting to happen already, please.
I'm sure it'll start. I bet that's one of the reasons they compound. I bet it starts. Well, like we had last. That's what we got to watch last night. Episode. We gotta hurry up, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So I think that sums up what do you think? That's everything else you want to add?
No, that's it. I mean, we will come back very shortly to discuss this. The second episode aired on the same night on a separate podcast, so we'll record.
Yeah, I know. We get all catch up, and then they do a double header. It's like they're trying to mess us up.
I know. Super rush.
Okay. So that's all for me and Karen. It is time for us to depart, for the game is afoot.